Submission Radio here with Jake Shields, ahead of UFC 244, brought to you by Musashi in the Mecca, a very special place, the Holy Grail, Renzo Gracie's Academy here in New York. It's kind of the perfect place to speak, yeah. Jake. It's been a while since we've spoken to you last, and now a big fight for Nate Diaz at Madison Square Garden this weekend. Tell us, what's the vibe like in the team, the Nick Diaz army?
Yeah, no, the vibe's good. Nate's super chill. I think he just fought not that long ago, so it's a really, considering the layoff he had, it's a really fast turnaround. His confidence up. He never got out of shape. Well, Nate stays in shape year-round. Like as you saw in his last fight, it didn't look like he just had 3 years off. He's a guy that stays in shape and stays ready, and I think this is a fight he wanted. Masvidal is a guy he respected, and he's excited to get back out there.
Here's the crazy thing, right? When he came back against Anthony Pettis, it was like, what's he going to look like after such a long layoff? And he looked fantastic. How much better do you think he'll look now that he's getting that back-to-back sort of, fight schedule going?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think he'd had a 3-year layoff, and it's tough coming back from that. And what was that fight? That was less than 6 months ago, probably?
Even less.
Yeah, so 4 months ago, something like that. So after a 3-year layoff to fight again in 4 months, he's going to have the ring rust will be gone. He's going to feel relaxed, and I think he'll look even better. And it's I think he also performs better at 5-round fights because he came out there a little like rushed and Pettis, getting fought in a while. He's like, oh, I got to win the fight. This one, 5 rounds, and you can go out there, pace himself a little better. And it's I expect him to look great. But again, Masvidal is certainly not an easy fight either.
Well, I was going to say, is there a danger of that sort of, getting comfortable and expecting those later rounds? Because you would think with a guy like Masvidal, he's super, super dangerous, especially in those early rounds being so explosive.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of power. That's one thing you got to watch out. Masvidal, a heavy hitter, and obviously he's got that flying knee. He just landed, so I'm sure he's gonna have a lot of confidence with that. I expect him to see him at least attempt that a few times. Nate's less likely to run into that, but when you land something that spectacular, you're probably gonna want to go out there and try it again.
When you look at Nate's past opponents, I mean, he's fought so many tough guys like Cerrone. Does Masvidal sort of mimic any of these guys, or would you say he's sort of a new challenge in his own right?
I mean, there's obviously some similarities. You look at Cerrone, these guys, a lot of similarities, but also differences. Every opponent has their own challenges. So luckily, and then one of our teammates, Gil Melendez, has actually fought Masvidal, so we were able to watch that fight, obviously. So it's, one of his closest training partners has fought the guy before, so that helps. And it's a tough fight.
We were looking on it from the outside, and Masvidal's like a huge Nate fan from the perspective of Nate as a guy that goes in there and fights, and he's kind of an OG in the sense that he's been in there for a long time, and Masvidal's seen him do his thing. Do you think respect will play sort of a part in this fight for a guy like Masvidal, like being in there with a guy that he respects so much in Nate Diaz? Do you think it has any effect on this fight?
Probably not very much. Like, they respect each other, but they're going to go out there and try to beat the crap out of each other. When you're locked in a cage, you might respect a guy and like him, but when they're trying to hurt you, you're going to try to hurt them.
What do you think about this super organic build-up to this fight, right? Like, we were joking just before about, Masvidal was late to the media day, so was Nate Diaz. There was no face-off. Both of these guys, they don't want to talk shit about each other. I feel like it's the first time where everybody, the fans, the media, everyone's on the same page. No one's actually trying to get them to talk shit. They're just enjoying this respectful build-up between two guys that are going to go in there and just scrap.
No, I think it's great because media is always trying to get guys to talk crap each other, and it's nice two guys respect each other. And also, these are guys that won't take any crap either. It's like, things could, to get them talking shit, things could pop off and they end up fighting, for real. And I don't think either guy really wants that, knowing that, things could pop off pretty easy, and they do respect each other. So it's luckily the media is not trying to goad them into talking crap.
Was there almost was that a thought in the back of your mind, like the scrap pack? Obviously, we've seen you guys walking around Vegas, everybody in black shirts. It's a huge crew, huge entourage, and you look at two guys like, Masvidal with his street fights, Nate, obviously a gangster in his own right. It's almost like, just needs a little spark and the fuel goes up, right?
Definitely could happen. When you're fighting someone, even though they respect each other, a small thing can set you off. Some fans sometimes don't realize it's a little different when you're they're like, oh, this guy's popping off to hit someone. But when you're fighting someone, you got to get yourself in that mindset to not like them. So you have to. So even though they respect each other, they have to hold a little animosity towards each other when it's fight time. So small things could probably set them both off, I would imagine.
What do you think people, maybe fans or me or anyone, maybe don't really understand about the scrap pack? Like, when we see you guys walking, like, it's just so evident and clear that everybody's got each other's backs. Obviously, you're all super, super nice guys, but you can see that sort of intensity, underneath it all, and everyone's quite serious.
Yeah, I think we get kind of a bad rep sometimes because honestly, we're all really nice guys. It's just people always see us when it's before a fight, and like I was saying earlier, when it's fight time, you get yourself a little pumped up. So small things, you might hit someone before a fight when normally you wouldn't think twice of it. Like right after I fought Dan Henderson, for example, Mayhem jumps in the cage and my adrenaline's up. I was just in a huge fight, so my reaction is this guy's come and challenge me, I'm gonna hit him. But normally I wouldn't. You're not gonna hit someone that easy. It's just your mind gets kind of in a different mindset fight time. And Nick and Nate, same thing. There are people always see them like mad trying to fight guys, but it's because they're gonna fight them. When they're walking around the streets, they're super mellow, chill guys. people are always surprised when you bring them around. They're like, wait, those guys are so nice. I didn't expect that.
The Jake Shields coffee throwing situation, which we remember a highlight when an example of something like that happening. We were quickly talking about this before the interview, but what was the team's reaction when the whole USADA thing happened? Did you guys think that this thing was going to be resolved so quickly?
I honestly didn't. I know Nate was really pissed off, rightfully so, because he's, never taken anything his whole career. He was really pissed off, and I talked to him. He's just like, fights off, I'm done. So in his mind, he didn't think it was resolved. So I didn't think it would get resolved, because to me it didn't seem like Nate was even trying to resolve it. In his mind, he's just like, oh, now the fight's off. I was really surprised they turned around so quick. I'm glad they did. I think they did the right thing. I just think in the past, USADA has stalled and not fixed things fast. And I think this time they realized they needed to get their shit together, because they saw Nate wasn't going to fight and get a suspension after.
Do you think it's funny how, like, a guy like Nate with, his certain reputation, he, in a way, almost put a gun to the UFC's head and kind of changed certain things about the procedures, and almost forced the UFC's hand to, take action? People for a long time have been saying, we need to get these results expedited before a fight, not afterwards, and he was kind of the catalyst for that happening.
No, I think it's great. I'm sure some other fighters are unhappy about it because they maybe feel cheated. Not unhappy, but they're probably a little, like, guys like Neil Magny and stuff probably feel a little cheated, but I think it was... they did the right thing for Nate, and this was the main event. They had nothing to replace it with, so he kind of forced the UFC's hand. And Nate doesn't need the money. He has plenty of money. He's a real dude, so he's not going to go and fight and then get suspended after for something he didn't do. So I think Nate did the right thing, and he forced USADA and UFC to do the right thing.
There's some conspiracy theories about this belt, the BMF belt. Will it become the 165-pound title? What do you think? Do you think this thing might have a life after this fight? People aren't really sort of talking about what this belt could mean in the future of the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't thought too much about it. I think it's probably a one-off would be my guess, but I think they should do a 165-pound belt. I think that would be a good thing to do, and then jump it to 175, because the weights are just so stacked right there. I think that would make sense, but I think Dana's been resistant to that, so who knows?
All right, well, before we wrap up, we want to quickly get your thoughts on how this fight will go down. I mean, it's 5 rounds. It could go down in any kind of way. Is there a scenario in your mind that you see sort of Nate winning this one? Is there a way that you think that he'll surprise people and maybe do it in a different way than what people are expecting?
I hate predicting these fights because there is just so many things that could happen, so many variables. It's always the toughest question, like, what do you see happen in these fights? It's when you get 2 trained fighters in the cage, fighting each other, as you've seen, anything can happen. I'm obviously picking Nate, and I think he'll go out there and find a way to win, but they're going to go out there and beat the crap out of each other a little bit, and I think Nate will end up pulling it out somehow.
Bit of a random question. I know that Nate obviously does triathlons and it's a big part of his cardio, but obviously when people think about the Diaz brothers, they think of like weed and obviously smoking up, and like as someone who wasn't ever a big smoker, I know lung-wise it didn't do anything great for me. How is Nate able to sort of get past that and still maintain his excellent cardio despite, smoking a whole bunch of weed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's just because he does so much cardio, so it's not like if a regular person smokes a bunch of weed and doesn't go and run, you're going to get tired. But if you're smoking and then you go run right after, you're clearing your lungs out. So it's not really having the same effects. And it's you should ask that question about Nick. He really smokes a lot of weed. I don't know how Nick smokes that much and keeps going.
So who smokes more, Nick or Nate?
Oh, definitely Nick, not even close. Like Nate smokes, but like a normal person. Nick, you're just around like, I can't keep up. Hang out with Nick, I'm like, nah, I'm done.
Have you ever tried? And thought, I can take this guy?
When I was high, or smoke competition?
Smoking, yeah.
Oh, no, man. I'd like a few times I would go smoke with Nick before, and then go and spar, and then I'm in there just like, what? Just so high. I'm like, oh my God, I got to spar Nick right now. How's he doing this? We're about to have a panic attack one time in the cage with him, locked up. Like, oh my God, I smoked too much. So I'm like, nah, I'm smoking after training.
Do you think Nick ever makes a return to fighting, or do you think this could be it for him?
I would love to see him come back, but I don't know, man. He's been out a while, and it's the longer you're out, the tougher it gets. He's still a big star, still can make some good money, so I'd love to see him come back, but we'll see. Just
quickly as we wrap up, a lot of people are sort of wondering what's next for Nate if he beats Masvidal. Do you think this Conor McGregor fight is a no-brainer if Conor's able to win on January 18th? Do you anticipate that Conor is in that position?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's 100% to Nate. Nate's, like I said, he's got plenty of money. He lives in Stockton that's cheap. He's not into fancy things, so Nate can fight if he wants to fight. But I would like to see Conor 3. I think that fight makes sense. The fans want to see it. He deserves it. He kind of got cheated the last time. He dominated the first one. I think everyone wants to see the third one.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens this weekend. Jake Shields, thank you so much for joining us in this place, the Mecca. Renzo Gracie's, Gary Tonin in the back, a commercial being shot, and of course the highlight of the night, Jake Shields himself. We can't wait to see what's next for you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.